think about someone for a moment.
His name was Rajan. He was 38 years old. He was working in a chemical plant. Every morning he used to hug and kiss his two children. And every evening those two children waited for him at the door. One fine evening, Rajan didn't come home. It was not because there was an earthquake. It was not because there was a flood.
It was because someone somewhere in the plant had made a decision. That decision was not a dramatic decision, it was not an event decision. It was a small decision, a decision to take shortcut, to meet the production deadline. A decision that had been taken several times in the past and nothing has happened. A decision had become so normal that nobody think it was a decision. Friends, I have spent over 3 decades in chemical industry. In that time, I have visited several plants and I have observed the plant machineries were best in class, employees were trained, safety signage were displayed everywhere. However, when I have seen the outcome of the incident in those same plants, it was every time I have found it was not machine that fell first, it was a decision. Let me tell you about money. It is not a safety procedure, it is not a compliance checklist, it is money. Because I have learned it and number has proven it. Every rupees chemical plant saves on safety today will cost 6 rupees tomorrow. 1 rupee saved, 6 rupees lost. This is not a moral argument, this is not an emotional argument, this is a simple mathematics. I want to show that simple mathematics in the form of story. I call it as a price member. 5 letters, 5 ideas and a single truth. The theme of the today's event is unfolding the perspective. And that is what I am going to do with you today. I want to unfold, to see the safety, not as a burden, not as a compliance checkbox, but as a powerful business decision a leader in the chemical industry will take. Once you change
That perspective and you see the safety through that perspective, everything will get changed. Let me go to the first letters P. P stand for pay, which we are paying invisibly every day. Imagine you have a bucket, you fill bucket with water. That is your production, that is your revenue. However, the bucket has small holes. Water drips out slowly, not all at once, so slowly that you didn't feel that something is wrong. And this is how an unsafe chemical plant looks like from outside. It looks fine until something happens. And these small holes have name. They are called skilled workmen, leave organization because they don't feel safe. A near miss which is not reported and kept hidden. These are very important things, and this is not only my opinion. This is the Henry's triangle. Every rupees you save on safety, you will have to pay 6 rupees. So this is what the pay which we are paying every day, every event, every shift, without opening an invoice. In chemical industry, the National Disaster Management Authority has reported 130 serious accidents in a decade, 260 people killed and 560 seriously injured. These are only the numbers which have reported. Here I want to tell you what is not reported. For every single incident, there are several small injuries happened and significant near misses which went unnoticed. That is not my opinion. That is Henry's triangle. So when you read anything in the newspaper about any accident, that is only not the cost which you see. There are multiple things which we are being lose, and that is what P means. That is what the price which we are paying invisibly every day. You might be sitting here thinking that it is expensive to fit because bucket has too many holes. Where do I even start? And here is the answer. Let us go to the second letter, R. Let me tell you what is the best investment in the manufacturing industry. It is not the safety process, it is not automation, it is not the equipment, it is safety. Some of you might be thinking safety is a cost, it is an overhead, and it is what we budget because we have to do it, not because it earns money. I understand your thinking. Here is a small story which I want to tell you so that your perspective will get changed. Imagine two chai stalls side by side on the same street, same quality, same price, same location. First, tea stall owner keep his stall spotlessly clean. He checks gas connection every day. He trains his worker regularly. Second stall owner cuts the corner. He skips safety checks. One fine day, there was a gas leak at the second stall. It catches fire. Second stall owner loses everything. His raw material, his equipment, his reputation, his customer, his income, everything he lost. What happens to the first stall owner? He gains all the customer. Now, scale up this story to any chemical plant which is having 500 employees, 500 crores of the business and global supply chain commitment. The figure will be extraordinary. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, the global gold standard for workplace safety, has consistently documented a plant which invests in safety that will save 4 to 6 rupees as a prevented cost, measurably in reducing the downtime, avoiding the shutdown, reducing the insurance cost, and retaining the talents. If I ask you that you have an investment with 400 to 600% return, what you will call it as? You will call it as the best investment. If this is the answer, why don't we consider safety as a first line item when we start any new project? Let me go to the third letter, I, which stand for invest. Let me ask you something. How many of you in this room pay for car insurance? Raise your hand. Everyone. Now, how many of you want to have a car accident this year so that you can utilize that car insurance? Nobody? That means you pay for car insurance hoping that you will never use it and you don't consider it as an expense. Because you understand that the consequence is catastrophic. So tell me, why don't you consider safety in the same way? Let me tell you one story. December 2020, during COVID lockdown, a chemical plant in Visakhapatnam has restarted his operation after 43 days of shutdown. No maintenance protocol had been followed. A styrene gas leak, 13 people died. More than thousands were hospitalized. The National Green Tribunal has ordered rupees 50 crore as an initial liability to the organization. Consider 50 crore, one order, single day, its huge loss to the organization, caused by skipping that maintenance activity which could have been done in few hours. That is what I mean, and that is the investment which we are skipping. Let me go to next step. Let me tell you what I learned on the shop floor. You can have a best safety system and investment, and still if the culture is wrong, it doesn't matter. And here the fourth letter C comes into the picture. Let me share you the single phrase which I hear everywhere when I visit the plant, and that single phrase is nothing happened. Nothing happened until something happened. Let me tell you one story. 3rd December 1984, Bhopal in Madhya Pradesh, a worst industrial disaster happened. More than 40 tons of methyl isocyanide gas leak. Around 3,800 deaths or multiple lakhs of people exposed to the gas. A city still carrying that fear in their mind after 4 decades. And here I want to tell you something about Bhopal. The plant had been told to close down 6 months earlier. The safety standard had been quietly reduced and plant was running below the safety standards. They were doing what they had been doing for days, for years, with saying one single line, nothing happened. Until one day the catastrophic happened. Dear friends, culture is not software. Culture is the collection of small decisions which we take that nobody is noticing. Safety culture is what your operator does on shop floor at 2 a.m. when nobody is watching. And that decision made quietly on shop floor look like very small thing, but it matters the most. And it is called as unfolding the perspective. It is not a new government policy. It is not a new piece of equipment, but it is a change in the thought process. It is a moment where the leaders see that small decision, that small safety scheme in different way. Change your perspective, it will change your culture. And the culture is where everything begins. And that is what we pay. That is what India earns. This is the fifth letter in the price framework. India is on the edge of something extraordinary. We are sixth largest chemical producer in the world. Our value is $250 billion today. By 2040, in less than 15 years, we have opportunity to reach to $1 trillion. Global companies are watching India right now. Supply chain dependent on China are looking for multiple options. India has talent, India has workforce, India has chemistry, and India has ambition. However, the global buyers who are watching India asking one question: can your plant deliver safely, reliably, every time at scale? And here is a beautiful truth which I want you to carry along with you today. The plant which is safe is the plant productive, and the plant which is productive is the plant profitable, and the plant which is profitable, which will build India story for $1 trillion. Safety is not opposite to the productivity. It is not enemy to the bottom line. It is a foundation. If we feel safe, we can think clearly. If we think clearly, we work well. If we work well, the plant thrives, and this is how India earns if we invest in the safety. I want to go back to Rajan for a while. His two children waiting at the door. I am not telling his story to make you sad. I am telling his story because it didn't have to happen. The decision that took him from his children was inevitable. It was by choice. It was made by culture, built by the leaders. And this is what the change in the perspective is required. India's $1 trillion future. The global recognition, the safer and productive plant will never come by changing the equipment. It will arrive only by changing the perspective. It is the moment where you have to see the plant differently. When you will go back tomorrow in the morning to your plant, and if you see deadline, if you see pressure, if you see temptation, and somebody will come and say everything is fine, ask yourself, what price I am going to lose? What price I am going to pay if I don't do this? In chemical industry, a rupee you save today will not stay saved. It will cost. It grows into 6 rupees as a cost. At a time, you will not able to repay back. In a way, you will not undo. Pay price willingly now, so you never have to pay price unwillingly later. Thank you very much.